So, here we go. Never done this before. Quite entertaining. Welcome to my little blog about a speedboat and the people that love her and trying to restore her. God, it looks like I'm bald. What the hell's going on? That's better. Let's try that. Okay, I'm going to try this angle. Bit weird. Welcome to my little blog about a speedboat and her story and the people that love her and the people that used her and the trials and tribulations of trying to get a 60-year-old speedboat back on the water, which is my plan for the remainder of this year, basically. So here we are in the middle of nowhere in Cornwall, England. For anyone that doesn't know where it is, I'll put a link or something. I really am in the boonies here. Here's my venerable Mercedes Stefan. Here is, you're not going to see her, are you? Merlin, my speedboat. You'll see her in daylight sometime. And here is my little workshop. Welcome. I'm going to put this like that and hope that works. How's that? That's not bad. Okay, so don't want to waste anyone's time here. This won't be everyone's cup of tea, but if it is your cup of tea, then great. And I look forward to sharing a few adventures with you. So, the story is as follows. Once upon a time, there was a little wooden speedboat called Douce. And Douce was bought and loved and used by one family, and more it fell into another family's hands over time. And the other family was mine. The original family was my Godfather John Gilbert, who is still with us, and he's going to love this project. So, the boat is a 1962 Broom Javelin, 12'6", tiny, really. 12'6", mahogany faced marine ply. So she's not Bentley, she's more of an MG. There we go. Side view there with the top on, got the top. And what makes this one unusual is, well, two things make this one unusual. One, the fact that it's basically been in one owner from new. My Godfather originally, more and more, didn't suit his family so much. My parents loved it and lived and breathed speedboat, water skiing particularly. My mum was a water skiing instructor back in the 60s. And more, my parents used it, and when the trailer broke they replaced it, and when the engine went they replaced it, and so on. So we ended up with one dinner party. Jono slid the papers across the table and said, there you go, she's yours. And I'm pleased to say that she still is, and I'm pleased to say that we've looked after her reasonably well in the intervening years. And there's been a few of them now. So there's Jono. There's my folks, my dad, my mum, Jono, in Poole Harbour, I think in the 60s. And this is the south of France. They used to take her down to the south of France, they towed her down to the south of France. There she is in South France, Lanapool. And there she is doing what they loved, which is water skiing, in that case on the Med. So, about early 80s, the original engine, which we're here to talk about, started overheating suddenly. They'd been changing the impeller cooling pump in the shallows, I suspect, and they'd forced the cooling water tube up into the head, into its rubber housing in the head, and that caused it to start overheating. And forevermore since then, and that was 84 we reckon, wherever I've gone in life, which hasn't been that far, but here, there, Hampshire, Scotland, Wales, Cornwall mainly, somewhere in the not too distant background there has been a Mercury 350 40 horsepower 4-cylinder outboard engine in bits in a shed or a barn or something, a container somewhere near me. So what I'm working on at the moment is trying to get the engine going. So this is the original engine from the boat. It's a 1962 Mercury 350. Now Mercury's numbering used to be, the number was 10 times the horsepower, so a 40 was a 400, etc. For 1 year only, their numbering system went wrong. So for some extraordinary reason, the 350 this year was the 40, 1961 engine, and that is what we've got. So that, the name of the game is to get that engine back on the boat. The boat's not far away, and I will show you the boat in another time. But for now, all you really need to know is the boat is there. What used to look like that currently looks like that. So that's what we're up against. We have bins full of different bits. There's the control box, there's the magneto, there's the wiring loom and the rectifier, and the top end of the magneto, and the control box, and the starter solenoid, and the starter motor, fuel pumps in bits, carburetors, etc. Some of which is quite recent, and some of which my brother and I are responsible for in a fit of teenage pique. So there are no doubt some bits missing. I've been working on her for a few weeks now, and there'll be a few bits, but to be honest, most of the bits that I need I seem to be able to find. I found the most fantastic guy in Holland, Ed Nieuwenhuizen. I hope to God that's something right, who is a Merc dealer, and his dad was a Merc dealer, and lo and behold, they have not only have they got shelves full of old parts, he has restored a 350 to museum quality. I will post a picture. So it's not impossible. The engine itself, there's not an awful lot wrong with it. It never seized. It turns over. The compression seems really good. I can't be bothered to measure it. If it isn't, it isn't, but it'll run. I know, I had it running as a block on the ground not so many years ago. So the name of the game is to get that engine back all together, back on the boat and working again. Especially while my parents are still with us, because they're in their late 70s now, and my godfather is also still with us, also in his late 70s. So they're not going to go on forever, and the sooner I can get it done, the better. So this is my challenge for this year, 2020, is to get this boat back together and working again. There's plenty more to talk about, but I think that is the introduction that would be sufficient for now. I would love to think if there's a handful of people out there for whom this is sufficiently interesting to follow this, then I will be absolutely thrilled. I'm going to put a couple of notices on Facebook groups and that kind of thing that it's going on, and I'm going to try and do it half decently. I'm downloading some video editing software at the moment, and I'm going to try and keep it up to date, and I would love all your questions, queries, thoughts. There's going to be I've popped a bottle of cheap fizz to welcome or to kickstart this bit of the project. So Sainsbury's finest, not even their finest, and maybe there'll be some champagne at the other end, assuming we get to the other end. But in the meantime, I hope you enjoy it. I hope you get involved. I look forward to any questions that you've got, and yeah, I look forward to maybe making some friends through this process. So cheers, welcome, here we go.